Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
On November 26, 2025, a serious event took place in Washington, D.C., near Farragut Square. Two National Guard members were on duty, helping to keep the peace. Suddenly, they were attacked. One soldier died, and the other was badly hurt. This act of violence quickly shocked the capital city and the whole nation. It was the start of a very big political argument. Weeks later, on December 16th, President Donald Trump spoke to the country from the White House. He announced a much bigger travel ban. He said the United States would stop more people from coming from many countries. President Trump clearly stated that this new policy was a direct answer to the shooting that happened in November. The person who fired the shots was Ramanullah Lakhanwal. He was an Afghan national with a complicated life story. People began to ask, was he a lone person acting alone, or was he part of a larger, unseen threat? The answers were not clear. The government said its reasons for the new travel ban were simple. However, the real story behind the shooting was far more complex than what the administration claimed. This new rule would change the face of America forever, but not in the way anyone expected. 2. A bigger ban. On December 16, 2025, President Donald Trump made a big announcement. He added many more countries to America's travel restrictions. This new ban was much larger than the one from June of the same year. It almost doubled the number of places from which people could not easily come to the United States. The new policy had different rules. 5 nations faced a complete ban: Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, and Syria. People from these places could not enter the U.S. at all. Laos and Sierra Leone, which had partial bans, now faced full bans too. Other countries received partial restrictions. This meant some people could still enter, but many visas were stopped. 15 more countries joined this list. They included Angola, Nigeria, Senegal, and Zimbabwe. This showed a very big increase in who was affected by the rules. A new and important part of the ban was for people with travel papers from the Palestinian Authority. This step caused strong reactions from many countries. It marked a big change in how America handled travel from that region. This December expansion was much bigger and tougher than the June ban. The first ban included 19 countries. With these new additions, the list was now much longer, showing a clear increase in strong travel rules. 3. The official story. The Trump administration clearly explained its reasons for the new travel rules. President Trump's team shared 3 main points with the American people. They said these points showed why the ban was truly needed to keep the nation safe. First, the administration stated that many foreign governments did not check their citizens properly. The White House claimed these countries often had problems with clear government or with proper, real documents. This made it very difficult for U.S. officials to confirm who people were. It also made it hard to know if they might pose a danger to America. For example, for Syria, the White House specifically mentioned the country lacked good passport systems. Also, for people with travel papers from the Palestinian Authority, the administration mentioned terrorist groups operating in that region. They said these groups had even killed American citizens.
Second, the administration focused on high visa overstay rates. They explained that many people from certain countries entered America on temporary visas, but then stayed much longer than they were officially allowed. This was seen as a serious sign that people did not follow U.S. immigration laws. It made the U.S. government lose trust in visitors from those places. Third, the administration highlighted countries that did not cooperate with U.S. deportation orders. They said some nations on the list refused to take back their own citizens, whom the United States wanted to deport. Sometimes, these countries also made the process of sending people home very slow or difficult. This lack of help, the administration argued, severely hurt America's efforts to keep its borders safe and manage immigration. These three explanations sounded logical and very strong to many.
They were presented as clear, fact-based reasons directly from the White House and in official statements. However, some questions began to rise. While these security rules sounded good, several important friends and partners of the U.S. also had known security problems, but those countries were conveniently not put on the travel ban list. A much bigger question then came up about the location of these new countries. If the only reason for the ban was to improve safety, why were almost all of the new countries on just one specific continent? This striking pattern made many people wonder about the real motivations behind the ban. 4. A focus on Africa. This chapter looks closely at Africa. The new travel rules mostly affect countries on this continent. Out of 20 new countries added to the ban in December, 18 are in Africa. This shows a very strong focus on African nations compared to other parts of the world. President Donald Trump's government said these countries have problems with how they are run. They also mentioned issues with official papers, like birth certificates or identity documents. The government claimed these governance challenges and unreliable documentation make it hard for the U.S. to check who is trying to enter the country. However, not everyone agreed with these reasons. Some people questioned if these were true security problems or just easy excuses. They argued that many African countries on the list face challenges in their civil administration. But the connection between these problems and real security risks for the United States is still debated. For example, countries like South Sudan, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have faced internal wars or instability. While the administration sees this as a sign of poor vetting, critics say that people from these places are often running away from violence and are not a big security risk to the U.S. This ban caused big problems for the U.S. with African leaders. The African Union, a group that represents African nations, said they were deeply disappointed by the restrictions. They warned that the ban could hurt the long-term trust between African countries and the U.S. They also said that African nations might start to work more closely with other global powers, such as China and Russia, if the U.S. turns them away. This shows how the world's political map could change. As the U.S. pushes away an entire continent, its rivals may become stronger. While America closes its doors, other powerful nations are ready to welcome Africa.
What will the world look like when Africa's many resources and political friendships belong to these other countries instead of the US? 5. The people left behind. The new travel rules announced by President Donald Trump brought harsh changes to many lives. They moved the focus from government policies to the real people suffering.
Afghan interpreters were one group deeply hurt. These brave men and women worked closely with U.S. soldiers and officials for many years in Afghanistan. This help made them targets for the Taliban. They had hoped for safety in the U.S. through special immigrant visas, or SIVs. This program was meant to protect them, giving them a way to escape danger. The November shooting involving an Afghan national named Ramanullah Lakhanwal led to stricter rules, as mentioned in Chapter 1. Now, other innocent Afghans are paying a heavy price for his actions. The December travel ban made it very difficult for SIV applicants to enter the United States. Groups like No One Left Behind said these individuals were already thoroughly checked and faced threats from terrorists. They argued these heroes should not be denied entry. But the new rules largely closed this path, leaving many loyal Afghans in extreme danger, with few safe places to go. The travel restrictions also separated American families. Many U.S. citizens could no longer bring their loved ones home. The rules greatly limited which family members could get visas. Now, only spouses, minor children, and parents of U.S. citizens can apply. Other close relatives, like adult children or siblings, are now left behind, far from their families. People fleeing terrible wars also lost hope. Refugees from nations such as South Sudan, and Myanmar, facing violence and little safety, saw their last chance for a new life disappear. Vulnerable women and children faced even greater hardship. Consider an Afghan man who translated for a U.S. general. His brave work saved American lives, but also made him a target. Today, he hides in Afghanistan. The Taliban discovered him and sent a direct threat. His time is running out. He needs to escape urgently, but the doors to safety, including the U.S., are almost all closed. Will he find a way to get out, or will he become another casualty of these new strict rules, lost forever? 6. The economic price. The new travel ban had a clear and high price. It started to hurt America's economy from the inside, slowing down important industries. Many vital parts of the economy began to feel this pain directly. In bustling centers like Silicon Valley, technology companies faced new challenges. They could no longer easily hire top engineers and experts from countries like Iran. These skilled individuals often brought fresh ideas and helped create new technologies, such as artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. The ban made it hard for these companies to find the best talent, which slowed down their ability to innovate and develop new products for the world market. America's healthcare system also faced serious problems. In smaller, rural towns especially, there was already a great need for more doctors, nurses, and medical researchers. Many foreign-trained medical staff used to come to the U.S. from the restricted countries, filling these important jobs. Now, hospitals found it much harder to get enough qualified people, making it tougher to provide good care for sick people across the nation. Factories in industrial areas, often called the Rust Belt, like in states such as Ohio, Michigan, and Texas, also felt a strong impact. These factories often depended on skilled immigrant workers, for example from Sudan or the Democratic Republic of Congo. The ban limited how these workers could enter or stay in the U.S. This meant fewer people to work in manufacturing jobs, directly hurting these businesses and the communities they supported. Agricultural sectors, especially in farming states like Florida, New York, and Texas, also struggled. They depended partly on workers from countries like Haiti to help with planting and harvesting crops. The new rules made it difficult for these essential workers to get or keep their visas, which put farms in a very tough spot and could affect food production. American universities also suffered a big financial loss. Many international students used to come from the banned countries, paying high tuition fees and contributing to local economies. With fewer international students coming, universities lost a significant amount of income. This loss could affect their ability to fund important research and offer a wide range of classes, changing the landscape of higher education. These wide-ranging problems showed up in many different parts of the economy, across diverse sectors. From advanced technology to essential healthcare, from large factories to busy farms and leading educational institutions, the ban caused clear and widespread economic harm. It was like America was hurting itself by limiting its own growth and success. Because of this growing economic damage, a new, powerful alliance began to form against the ban. Business leaders, who often avoided political disagreements, now felt compelled to speak up. They began to meet quietly with civil rights lawyers, planning how to fight the policy. These leaders wanted to use their money and influence to fund legal challenges. They hoped their combined power could succeed in court, where earlier moral arguments against the ban had not been strong enough. 7. The fight in court. The legal fight against the new travel ban was starting. Lawyers knew it would be very hard to win. In 2018, the Supreme Court made a big decision. This case was Trump versus Hawaii. It gave President Donald Trump much power over who enters the country. The law lets the president stop people if he believes their entry harms the United States. This made it very difficult to challenge the ban. However, lawyers found a new strategy, a difficult one. They spoke about the non-delegation doctrine. This idea says Congress gave the president too much power. Lawyers argued Congress should not give one person such wide power to decide who can come. They thought this went against how the government should work.
Questions still remained about Rahmanullah Lakanwal, the man from the shooting. His official files contained strange facts. The government seemed to hide these inconsistencies. They did not want the public to know the full truth about his past or how his background check was handled. This legal battle felt like a small group fighting a giant. The government was powerful, with many resources, and a past Supreme Court win. But the lawyers believed in their new strategy, despite small chances. They knew the court fight would be long and hard. Then a major secret came out. A worker from the Department of Homeland Security, a whistleblower, secretly shared an important paper.
It was a classified memo. The memo allegedly showed that key details about Rahmanullah Lakanwal's vetting were not presented truthfully to the public. It suggested the government might have changed facts to create a reason for the ban. If true, the entire policy could be built on a lie. The ban and the future. The important memo about the shooter, Rahmanullah Lakanwal, was finally revealed. People thought it would show the whole ban was a lie, but it did not. The memo showed that the government had stretched the truth. The vetting process for people like Lakanwal was not perfect. It had some problems, but it was not completely missing, as some officials had said. This news caused many arguments. It made the political talk louder.
But this information was not enough to stop the travel ban in court right away. The legal system for immigration gave the president much power. It was hard to fight against the ban, even with this new memo. So, the new travel ban officially started. It changed many lives in America and around the world. Families stayed separated, and people could not see their loved ones. This was a big human cost. Also, many U.S. businesses felt the pain. Hospitals could not find enough doctors. Tech companies lost skilled workers. Universities had fewer students from other countries. This caused economic damage to different parts of America. The ban also changed how America looked to other countries. Many nations, especially in Africa, felt hurt by the new rules. They started to look for new friends, like China or Russia. This shifted America's place in the world. Now, many big questions remain. How safe is the country really with this ban? How much power should one person, the president, have over immigration? What kind of country will America be in the future? Will it still be a place where people from all over the world can come? The travel ban is now a part of American law. It has put the country on a new road, but no one knows where it leads. Only time will tell the full results of this big change. Future generations will have to decide if it was the right path.
If a country proves it has improved its vetting systems, do you think it should be removed from the list? Or is the damage to trust already done?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world.